Omething involving the very destiny of humanity is approaching, a reality that prophetic voices from Medjugorje and other spiritual sources have been warning us about with increasing urgency. It is a shift that may manifest far sooner than we imagine. Sources close to Father Petar and Mirjana, the priest chosen by the visionary Mirjana to eventually reveal the secrets of Medjugorje to the world, report that in recent months, the spiritual tension surrounding the first secret has intensified in an extraordinary way. Mirjana herself, in private conversations that have echoed out to the faithful, has reportedly reiterated with a grave tone that the time of mercy is about to give way to the time of warning. This is not religious folklore. These are not marginal visions to be dismissed. We are listening to a call that echoes through the centuries, rooting itself in the very words of Jesus Christ. And today, it resonates with a power never seen before. Stay with us, because as we delve deeper, we will uncover the 3 specific locations, both physical and spiritual, that you must avoid if you wish to survive the coming trials. What we are about to share is not the fruit of idle speculation. It is a result of a careful analysis of Scripture, authentic prophecies recognized by the Church, and the signs of the times that are aligning before our eyes like the tiles of mosaic we are only now beginning to see in its entirety. As a small thank you for joining us today, we offer a moment of shared blessing. Comment with the word faith if you are open to receiving a special final thought dedicated to everyone participating. And please press like if you appreciate these moments. 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ spoke clearly at a time called the Great Tribulation, a period of trial unprecedented in human history. He did not use vague metaphors. He gave precise indicators, geographical orders, and a map for spiritual survival. And today, as the world races toward an abyss that many do not even realize exists, those words are returned to shine like beacons in the night. We have identified 3 zones of the planet and of the human spirit that will become extremely dangerous when this tribulation begins. 3 places where you absolutely must not find yourself if you want to save not only your body, but above all, your soul. The time to choose where to stand, to understand which side to take, is running out rapidly. The first of these locations is the ancient epicenter of our faith, a place where tensions are already boiling over. Let's begin with the first location, the epicenter of history and prophecy, Jerusalem and the Holy Land. According to sources monitoring the geopolitical and spiritual situation in the Middle East, the recent weeks have witnessed an escalation of tension that goes far beyond the normal conflicts of the region. We are not merely talking about politics or military strategy. We are witnessing a spiritual shifting of tectonic plates. Jerusalem, the city 3 times holy, has always been the beating heart of biblical prophecy. It is where the story of salvation began, and it is where the final chapters will be written. Jesus Christ was terrifyingly specific about this in the Gospel of Matthew. He warned us, "When therefore you shall see the abomination of desolation, which was spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place. He that readeth, let him understand. Then they that are in Judea, let them flee to the mountains." Matthew 24, verses 15 to 16. These words leave no room for symbolic interpretation. This is a divine evacuation order. It is as if a military command has issued a red alert, telling you that you have minutes, not days, to escape the zone. Jesus warns us not to turn back for a cloak, not to go down into the house, just to flee. Witnesses close to the spiritual circles of Medjugorje report that the Virgin Mary, through her recent messages, has repeatedly called for prayer for peace in the Middle East. However, her tone has shifted. It has become almost desperate, as if she knows that the time for preventative prayer is running out and the phase of irreversible events is beginning. Father Petar and Mirjana has confided that when the first secret is finally revealed, humanity will understand that God is not bluffing. Many spiritual analysts agree that this initial signal will likely have a direct link to Jerusalem. Why? Because according to the book of Revelation, this is where the Antichrist will establish his throne. It is here that the abomination will be erected, a symbol of ultimate blasphemy that leaves a holy place desolate. St. John in the Apocalypse describes an image of the beast that speaks, orders, and kills those who do not bow down. In our modern age, we must ask, what is this image? Is it advanced technology? Artificial intelligence? A holographic deception? We do not know the method, but we know the result will be tangible and terrifying. When this occurs, those in Jerusalem and its surroundings will be caught in an eschatological siege. As the Gospel of Luke warns, armies will encompass the city. History tells us Jerusalem has been besieged many times, but what is coming will surpass them all. However, the Lord, in His infinite mercy, has always provided a place in the wilderness, a refuge where He nourishes His faithful. But there is a condition. You must be willing to move. You must be willing to detach from the location the world calls holy if it has become the seat of the abomination. But if Jerusalem feels distant to you, do not think you are safe. The second location we must discuss is likely where you are sitting right now. Stay with us, because the second no-go zone is the modern metropolis, the new Babylon. And the prophecy says it will collapse in a single hour. We now turn to the second location, a place far more familiar to most of us than the deserts of the Middle East, the great cities of the modern world, the new Babylon. The book of Revelation, in chapter 18, launches a cry that tears through the centuries and lands on our doorstep with shattering power. And I heard another voice from heaven, saying, "Go out from her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not her plagues." Revelation 18, verse 4. This is not poetry. It is not a metaphor. It is a divine order for a spiritual and perhaps physical evacuation. But what is Babylon today? It is certainly not the dusty ruins of an ancient city in Iraq. Babylon is a system. It is a civilization built without God, and increasingly against God. It is a pride of the metropolis that touches the sky with glass towers, shining at night like artificial stars. It is the pulsating heart of an economy where money is an idol and power is worshipped. Babylon is Wall Street. It is the city of London. It is Tokyo, Shanghai, and Dubai. It is every place where humanity has convinced itself that it can thrive without the Creator. And the prophecy regarding this system is terrifying. The scriptures tell us that this Babylon will collapse in 1 hour. For 2,000 years, this claim seemed impossible. How could a global empire fall in 60 minutes? Rome took centuries to decay. Even modern regimes take years to crumble. But today, for the first time in human history, 1 hour is more than enough. Our world is no longer built of stone and iron. It is built of bits and bytes, fiber optic cables, and servers processing billions of transactions per second. The entire global economy is a house of cards held together by digital signals. A coordinated cyber attack, a massive solar flare taking down the power grid, or a sudden collapse of trust in the financial markets could stop everything instantly. Imagine the scenario. The banks close their digital doors. ATMs go dark. Credit cards become useless pieces of plastic. Supermarkets, which rely on just-in-time delivery systems, empty out in hours. Gas pumps stop flowing. In this environment, the modern megacity, home to millions of people completely dependent on the grid, does not just become uncomfortable, it becomes a death trap. International economic sources are already sounding the alarm. Global debt is unsustainable, and trust in traditional currencies is wavering. In response, we see a push towards centralized digital currencies, a system that offers total control, perfect for the mark of the beast described in Revelation, where no one can buy or sell without approval. We are building the infrastructure of our own imprisonment, while most people are looking the other way. The warning from Medjugorje in the scriptures is clear. Come out of her. Do not tie your life, your identity, and your security to a system that is destined to fall. Because when it goes, it will not give you 2 weeks' notice. It will fall like a thief in the night. But if the cities are unsafe, where do we go? Some of the wealthiest people on earth think they have found the answer. They are digging deep into the earth. Stay with us, because the third no-go zone is the most insidious of all, the high-tech bunker, and the prophecy explains exactly why it will become a tomb rather than a shelter. The third no-go zone is the most insidious because it is built on the illusion of invincibility. It is a high-tech refuge, both physical and digital. In recent years, a quiet trend has emerged among the ultra-wealthy. Silicon Valley billionaires, financial tycoons, and the global elite have begun purchasing doomsday insurance in the form of luxury bunkers. We are talking about decommissioned missile silos converted into underground fortresses, vast properties in New Zealand, often cited as the safest place to be during collapse, and shelters equipped with military-grade air filtration, independent power grids, and years' worth of food. It seems logical, doesn't it? If you have the means, why not prepare for the worst? But the book of Revelation paints a chillingly different picture of how these bunkers will actually be used. In Revelation chapter 6, St. John sees the kings of the earth and the princes and tribunes and the rich and the strong hiding in the dens and the rocks of mountains. But they are not congratulating themselves on their foresight. They are crying out to the mountains and the rocks, "Fall upon us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth upon the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb." Revelation 6, verse 16. Read that carefully. They prefer death to facing what is coming. Their reinforced concrete walls and stockpile of resources have rendered them useless because you cannot hide from God. If this message resonates deep within you, and you feel moved to affirm your faith right now, simply type Amen in the comment below. The psalmist understood this truth thousands of years ago. "Whither shall I go from thy spirit? Or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend into heaven, thou art there. If I descend into hell, thou art present." Psalm 139, verses 7 to 8. There is no bunker deep enough to escape the gaze of the Creator. When the day of justice arrives, those who trusted in their own fortifications rather than the Lord will find they have built their own tombs. But there is another dimension to this bunker mentality, the digital refuge. Millions today are migrating into virtual worlds, staking their identities on the metaverse, trusting their wealth to cryptocurrency, and storing their memories in the cloud. We feel safe because it is password protected and encrypted. But what happens when the servers go dark? Father Petar has hinted that part of prophetic warning concerns the fragility of our modern idols. We have convinced ourselves that technology makes us immortal, yet the entire digital reality relies on a steady flow of electricity. If the grid fails, that reality evaporates instantly, the cloud dissipates, and those who have anchored their lives to it will be left in a void. Jesus warned us against this attachment in the gospel. "And he that is on the housetop, let him not come down to take anything out of his house." Matthew 24, verse 17. Why such urgency? Because the human instinct is to cling to our stuff, our documents, our assets, our hard drives. But Christ is saying, let it go. If you stop to save the system, you will die with the system. So, if Jerusalem is dangerous, the cities are collapsing and the bunkers are traps, where on earth are we supposed to go? If the cities are traps and the bunkers are tombs, where's the safe house? The answer is found in the same prophetic texts that warn us of the danger. God never issues a warning without providing a way of escape. The book of Revelation speaks of a specific protection provided to the faithful during the climax of history. In chapter 12, we read about the woman, symbolizing the church and the people of God, who flees into the wilderness. And there were given to the woman 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the desert unto her place, where she is nourished for a time and times, and half a time, from the face of the serpent. Revelation 12, verse 14. This time, times, and half a time corresponds to the 1,260 days, or 3.5 years, the second half of the tribulation. But notice the method of survival. The woman does not survive because she stockpiled canned goods for a decade. She survives because she is nourished by God. This is a fundamental difference between the bunker mentality and the kingdom mentality. The prepper trusts in his inventory. The believer trusts in providence. We have historical precedents for this. When the Israelites were in the desert of Sinai, there was no food and no water. By all human logic, they should have perished. Yet, for 40 years, God rained down manna from heaven and drew water from a rock. When the prophet Elijah was hiding from the persecution of King Ahab during a drought, God sent ravens to bring him bread and meat by the brook Cherith, 1 Kings 17. God has done it before, and the prophecy suggests he is prepared to do it again. But there is a critical condition: obedience. You must be willing to move when he says move. You cannot linger. The safety is not in the geography itself, but in being exactly where God tells you to be. Whether that is a physical refuge in the mountains or a spiritual refuge in your own home, the protection comes from the alignment of your will with his. The place in the wilderness is prepared for those who have detached themselves from the system of Babylon. It is for those who are not afraid to step out of the boat and walk on the water when Jesus calls. If the cities are traps and the bunkers are tombs, where is the safe house? The answer is found in the same prophetic texts that warn us of the danger. God never issues a warning without providing a way of escape. The book of Revelation speaks of a specific protection provided to the faithful during the climax of history. In chapter 12, we read about the woman, symbolizing the church and the people of God, who flees into the wilderness. And there were given the woman 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the desert unto her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent. Revelation 12, verse 14. This times, and half a time corresponds to the 1,260 days, or 3.5 years, the second half of the tribulation. But notice the method of survival. The woman does not survive because she stockpiled canned goods for a decade. She survives because she is nourished by God. This is the fundamental difference between the bunker mentality and the kingdom mentality. The prepper trusts in his inventory. The believer trusts in providence. We have historical precedents for this. When the Israelites were in the desert of Sinai, there was no food and no water. By all human logic, they should have perished. Yet, for 40 years, God rained down manna from heaven and drew water from a rock. When the prophet Elijah was hiding from the persecution of King Ahab during a drought, God sent ravens to bring him bread and meat by the brook Cherith. 1 Kings 17. God has done it before, and the prophecy suggests he is prepared to do it again. But there's a critical condition: obedience. You must be willing to move when he says move. You cannot linger. The safety is not in the geography itself, but in being exactly where God tells you to be. Whether that is a physical refuge in the mountains or a spiritual refuge in your own home, the protection comes from the alignment of your will with his. The place in the wilderness is prepared for those who have detached themselves from the system of Babylon. It is for those who are not afraid to step out of the boat and walk on the water when Jesus calls. The true location of safety is not found on a GPS. It is found in a spiritual coordinate described beautifully in the scriptures. Psalm 91, often called a soldier's psalm, begins with a promise that no bunker can match. He that dwelleth in the aid of the Most High shall abide under the protection of the God of Jacob. Psalm 91, verse 1. Notice the specific language. It does not say, he who dwells in a reinforced concrete silo. It does not say, he who has 10 years of food stored. It says, he who dwells in the aid of the Most High. This is the only fortress that will not crumble when the shaking begins. Visionaries like Mirjana have repeated countless times that the Virgin Mary weeps for her children, not because they're physically in danger, but because they're living far from God. She weeps for a generation that has filled its life with everything except him. We have built a modern Tower of Babel, higher and more arrogant than the first, convinced we don't need heaven. And just like the first time, this tower must fall. This coming collapse is not an act of vengeance by an angry God. It is an act of rescue. If the current system continued unchecked, it would eventually devour the human soul entirely. The structure of Babylon is being allowed to fail so that humanity can remember how to look up again. To join our community and never miss an inspiring story, consider clicking like and subscribing to the channel. Sources close to the Vatican report that even within the reserved halls of the Curia, the conversation is shifting. There is a growing consensus on the need to prepare the faithful, not with alarmism or survivalist tactics, but with the truth. The directive is clear: deepen your roots. When the storm hits, only the trees with deep roots will remain standing. These roots are fed by the sacraments, by prayer, and by a life of authentic faith. The signs are everywhere for those with eyes to see. Jesus spoke of wars, earthquakes, famines, and cosmic signs in Matthew 24. Skeptics will always say, but these things have always happened. And they are right, but never all at once and never with this intensity. It is a principle of birth pangs. As the birth approaches, the contractions do not just get more painful, they get closer together. We are seeing a convergence of crises, geopolitical, economic, environmental, and spiritual, that suggests history is accelerating toward a singularity. Father Petar and Mirjana, the custodian of the first secret, has stated that when the time comes to reveal it, 3 days before the event occurs, the world will finally know that God is real and that he is speaking through his mother. It will be a visible, irrefutable event. It will stop the world in its tracks. But we cannot wait for that day to make our choice. The three dangerous places we discussed, Jerusalem, the center of conflict, Babylon, the corrupt system, and the bunker, false self-reliance, are ultimately spiritual states. You could be physically in a safe rural farmhouse, but if your heart is in Babylon, trusting in money and power, you are in danger. Conversely, you could be in the middle of a collapsing city, but if your soul is dwelling in the shelter of the Most High, you are secure. The question remains, how do we enter the shelter? The door is open, but it is closing fast. The roadmap for survival is laid out before us, but we must have the courage to read it. Father Petar has said that when the first secret is revealed, many will convert. But for some, it will be a conversion born of panic rather than love. And therein lies the danger. The message we are receiving today is not designed to paralyze you with terror. It is designed to awaken you with truth. The heart of this prophecy is not the destruction of the world, but the salvation of your soul. As the Gospel of John reminds us in the most famous verse of Scripture, "For God so loved the world, as to give his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him may not perish, but may have life everlasting." John 3, verse 16. This is the core of the warning. God is not an angry tyrant looking for a reason to punish. He is a desperate father, watching his children play on the edge of a cliff. He has sent prophets, visionaries, and even his own mother to call us back from the edge. But we have built our modern Babylon right over the precipice. If he allows the tower to fall, it is only to save the people trapped inside it. However, we must face a hard reality. The door to the ark will not stay open forever. Just as in the days of Noah, there came a moment when God himself shut the door. Once that moment passes, no amount of knocking will open it. So this evening, as we conclude this urgent report, we are issuing a personal appeal to you. This is not a general invitation. It is a vital call to action. If you have not yet given your life to Christ, do it now. Not tomorrow, not after you have fixed yourself, and not when you feel ready. Do it now. The time is short, and no one is promised tomorrow. If you are not at peace with God, seek that peace immediately. Go to confession. Abandon the sins that weigh you down. Choose the light before the darkness makes the choice for you. And if you're already a believer, but your faith has become lukewarm, a routine of Sunday habits without inner fire, wake up. Pray as you have never prayed before. Return to the sacraments. Prepare your soul, because what is coming will require a faith of steel. It will require a relationship with Jesus Christ that is so real and so deep that it can withstand the collapse of everything else around it. The three dangerous places we explored tonight, Jerusalem, the center of conflict, Babylon, the corrupt system, and the bunker, the illusion of self-reliance, are in reality spiritual locations. Wherever you are physically, if your heart is in one of those states, you are in danger. But the good news is that the shelter of the Most High is also just a prayer away. Jesus Christ has overcome the world. He has conquered death, and anyone who remains united to him participates in that victory. As we conclude on this profound truth, we invite you to make a public declaration of your faith. Comment "Jesus is King" below to affirm this truth with us. Let the world know whose kingdom you belong to, and your journey of preparation is just beginning. We have more vital information to share with you about these times. Click on the video appearing on your screen now for another powerful message we prepared for you. May God bless you, protect you, and keep you safe in the palm of his hand.